Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the stream. We are back on indieVelo doing our thing. I think today, I don't know what we're going to do today. We'll start with some pace bot, some low-end power stuff. Just get the legs moving. Yesterday, we did a race, no warm-up. Some interesting stuff, though. In the race, we actually did have some live opponents, which was cool. Saw some of them afterwards on Strava that I didn't realize were in the race. I knew one person had signed up. Didn't see anybody else. But at the end of the day, there was more than one. So there you go. So let's switch over to the screen here. You can see we got the pace bots, all the pace bots. I'm gonna go there. Let's take a look. I've got to make sure we're paired, which we are, which is awesome. And if I can say anything at all, that this showing exactly how much power is left in the power meter pedals, and this especially showing how much is left in the heart rate monitor, because there is no way to look at that otherwise. Great feature. Pretty stoked with that, because a lot of times, especially with the heart rate monitor, I have no idea. I'll go out for rides for hours and then it'll just be dead, and never fun. And Zwift wise, if it's an important race, it's not a good thing to not know. And the only other way to do it is log in the app. It's nice, it's got it built in. Anyways, enough yammering about that. New one looks like a nice coastal ride there. Let's pace. Okay. There was also some good chat yesterday on here. Hey, Alex. Good to see you. Asioma is top. These are the mountain bike ones. I'm on the gravel bike on the trainer. They have been fantastic so far. I released the unboxing video yesterday. Pretty stoked to get these early on. How are things? How's the racing going? How's everything? I haven't seen you in a long time, my dude. I have had this week off as a lead into Unbound, which I didn't end up doing. And then I figured I'd just ride lots outside this week. And it's just been poor weather. I mean, I could. Oh, that's cool. Thomas from Dirt. We're in the Dirt kit. That's awesome. I should probably just apply and get back on the Dirt team here. I know this is day 2 on indieVelo. I have to say, I kind of like it. Oh, the dirt kit looks really good. You can even see the little logo on the pants. Oh, I like that. But now I'm gonna have to apply for that. I kind of want to make my own kit as well. I just really just call it the Black Metal Cycling Club and go from there. I should change my name to add the YouTube at the end as well. So that must be the bot, the blue bike there. It's definitely stands out. Kind of wild kit, really. I'm fairly convinced anybody with a team kit is real. Ugh. Feel my shoulders from this morning's workout. Hey, wow, so clutch. Yeah, they do very look video game-esque, I think. But they do stand out. That's, I guess, the important part. I'm on the bike again early today. I don't think it's, the weather's gonna turn around here, so may as well get in the ride in early. Although I am feeling it a bit. Normally I work out. Gym is early in the morning, like 5, 6 o'clock kind of deal. And then I don't usually ride till 5, 6 o'clock at night. So it's a good 12 hours of rest in between. And I'm definitely nowhere near that right now. I've maybe had an hour or two of just kicking back, having a coffee, but I can definitely feel my legs already. Yeah. Yeah, it's been kind of, it sucks because, like I said, this was my week before Unbound. And initially it was just going to be a taper week and travel, and then get familiar with kind of what was out there. But that all went to pot, so I'd hoped to just kind of ride outside a lot this week and forget the taper and all that kind of stuff. So at the end of the day, we're on the trainer. Yeah, no, I had put in way back when, and nothing came of it initially, and then I was put on the wait list, and then in between sort of January sign up in June, my contract with Specialized came up and wasn't renewed. So that is what it is. That's most bike sponsorship kind of contract things. They come and go, especially when you're an aging old man like myself. And then ultimately, I got in. I know, yeah, Pookie's in, and I was excited because Pookie and I had been talking. It would have been great to ride with him and stuff in that race, but I got in. So they gave me, I think it was a 48-hour window to register, which is fine. So I started doing the look around for accommodations, and the cheapest I could find, I think it was like $150 US for a campsite, which it was just too much. And then I think for an extra $25 a night, they allowed you access to power, which is crazy. Because I would have cameras and Grupo and all that kind of stuff that you got to plug in and make sure you're charged like anybody else. So, and then I started looking elsewhere, like expanding the search. And then by the time we got to anywhere reasonable, it was like a 2.5 hour drive to get there. Yeah, no, Airbnb, they have a Facebook page with tons of stuff. It's, I think it's such a big event that a lot of people in that area, I have a friend who lives in Kansas, and he's like, it doesn't cost that much there. They're making all their money off that week of Unbound and knowing that people are going to come. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's whatever. Had it been when January, when I had gone and everything, I would have been there and applied and all that kind of stuff. The contract probably, I don't know, maybe it wouldn't have disappeared, but at the end of the day, without any team support, it was going to make it a little more difficult. And to be honest, for events like that, especially with the peanut butter mud, it's I would rather have a team bike that I'm there to race versus, something I'm going to have to replace half the parts out of my own pocket at the end of the day. You know, like I said, I'm a fair weather rider. If, you know, the gravel is muddy, I tend not to ride gravel. You know, I like that. It'll be good here in a few days once the rain stops and it gets to that nice kind of tacky where it's not muddy, but it's not bone dry that you're sucking up a ton of dust, and then you got great grip and all that kind of stuff. That's what happens with Ironmans. And I'm not surprised. Raise the prices and gouge people. Yeah. I mean, I've done the sponsorship thing from a long time. I mean, Specialized isn't my first sponsor. They probably, well, hopefully won't be my last. You know, it's, you know, I've been sponsored by all sorts of brands like Intense, Spy Optic, ODI, Stump 503. I mean, the list goes on and on. Vans. They last for as long as they last. I mean, you're there to do a job. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, sponsorship and those kind of associations are they need to be a symbiotic relationship. They need to work for both parties. I think I performed well on my year on that program. I mean, it's not a shock. I mean, it wasn't so long ago that Specialized dumped a ton of ambassadors and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's just it's the nature of the bike industry. It's the nature of the sport. And if you're not a top dog, which I'm not and never will be again, it's really, you know, it is what it is. But I mean, you know, doors close and doors open and all that kind of stuff. It gives me an opportunity. Like, I mean, I still have the Specialized SL8, a great bike. I probably wouldn't be on that bike otherwise. Being out of contract allows me to ride the Cervelo Sphero, which is a bike that I love. It's an amazing bike. I missed riding it for all that time. And if I did ride it, I had to kind of like sneak out and cover logos and not post photos and all that kind of stuff. I mean, honestly, I was waiting to get a Crux, but for Unbound, but like I said, that didn't happen. But I mean, I love the Cervelo. I mean, I'll ride whatever, to be honest. I mean, I've ridden all kinds of bikes. Yeah, I mean, it's part of the industry. It's, you know, during COVID, I think a lot of bike companies overextended themselves. That they thought the massive sales were gonna last forever. And I mean, it got expensive for people. People were buying bikes. Oh, it did they? Now I saw that they had the name open for that. That's kind of cool. That'll be interesting. I mean, Kona's been around for a long time. I had a lot of friends in my free ride days that used to ride Kona Stinkies and rode for Kona, and you know, they especially with the free ride revolution in the 90s, I mean, they were a huge brand at that time. I'm excited about it. I lived out in Nelson when they were getting big. Yeah, and if you lived in Nelson, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's I mean, that's a free ride mecca out there. It's a lot of good riding. A lot of good riding. They were a client in a design studio I worked for. Yeah. I've my mom used to live in the cusp in BC. So I'd spend a lot of time out there. I'd go ride a lot in those areas, hoping to get back to their heritage. Yeah, it's bike industry is extremely competitive. It's you know, it's, a lot of money goes into advertising, trying to sell products. I mean, it's interesting in the sense that you see a lot of brands are starting to go the route like Canyon, where it's direct to consumer. I mean, Specialized is doing it, Trek is doing it. So it kind of cuts out the bike shops in a sense, because I know some of the brands like Specialized, for example, if you order a Specialized bike, they ship it to a Specialized store who assembles it. The store obviously makes some money in that process, but at the end of the day, you know, it's direct to consumer is going to, I think, make it very difficult for stuff. I mean, bike shops have it hard, and then there's always the problem of getting parts. You know, it's easy enough to source parts online. I always try to go to the bike shop for stuff. Like I had to do the headset on the Cervelo, and I got their last headset. You know, it's and luckily I only needed the bottom bearing because they didn't have the right top bearing. So it's, at the end of the day, it's a very tough business in the sense that you've got to kind of have everything. I mean, you got to be a service first kind of thing. Otherwise, it's going to be really tough for you. Coots is my favorite. Nice. Not sure if you know about longboarding. Yeah. I used to skate. I can't really show you, but I have decks all over the studio here. So I've got Vallely, a McGill, a Tommy Guerrero, a Cab. I've got a Purdeer, a Rodney Mullen, Lance Mountain. So I was a big Powell kid. I got a Natus Copus. I used to skate back in the day. I used to skate a lot. Used to do events like Slam City Jam back in the day. I used to ride a lot of vert. Good fun. So I know land yacht. I know land yacht well. Building a custom titanium bikes. Oh wow. Yeah, you see in niche stuff like that, like, I mean, I imagine they're kind of like beach cruisers is what they're doing. Land yacht. I would say that's kind of the natural progression to go. Make a bike that you can carry your longboard, carry your surfboard, cruise the beach, get around. But yeah, I think sometimes companies will overreach into markets they probably don't necessarily belong in. Oh, it's not that kind of bike. It's not. That's a shocker. And that's what I mean. But if you look at stuff like Santa Cruz, so Santa Cruz skateboarding, your skateboard, we're going to talk about skateboards now. Rob Roscop, who was huge in Santa Cruz back in the day, vert skater, he eventually took on Santa Cruz, the bike division, which has now become massive, which actually owns, I mean, Santa Cruz, Cervelo, they're all the same umbrella. I'm not sure how much Rob is involved anymore, but he was involved for a very, very long time building that brand. So, yeah. Longboarded pretty serious, had a pretty big cash though, which unfortunately with skateboarding is what it is. I kind of quit skating because broke 4 metatarsals on my left foot. For that reason, except I usually broke ankles or twisted or sprained ankles. It's for gravel bike packing. It's interesting that they would go that route. I get it. Maybe it's all the old skaters aren't our gravel bike packers. I mean, as we age, we evolve. I still have a longboard. Granted, it is an electric longboard because I am lazy, but I'm a little apprehensive of it sometimes because that thing can fly. And much like what you're putting out there, I am not a man that bounces anymore. I just break. It's all good. All good. There's Dr. Edmonton that towers his canoe on his bike and paddles across the river to get to work. Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, it's interesting how these companies kind of evolve. I mean, they probably got a good amount of capital and they're just looking to expand somewhere. I mean, I don't see as many longboards as I once did. I mean, I don't even see really any electric longboards anymore either, as people kind of move to those, and they're terrifying for me. Those one wheels. Absolutely, I would be terrified to ride that thing. Especially the speed I see guys, and guys are running it, running them really fast. Yeah, the company that I had was Juiced. I still have it. They were based out of Red Deer, and they were doing it bamboo boards. I mean, clearly they were getting their stuff made in China, but they had some QR stuff. They were trying to hit the same market as Boosted, but for several hundred dollars cheaper, and virtually identical boards. Good stuff. I mean, like I said, it's they're fun to ride, but being electric, I think sometimes you get yourself in more trouble. Although I will say this, because it does have regenerative braking, that it's kind of nice that you don't have to completely full send hills or downhills on the board. You can just kind of take it chill. Yeah, it's downhill's the way to go, man. Like, it's a ton of fun. But you know, to be honest, and like I said, I mean, I used to skate vert, I used to skate everything. I don't think I have the nuts anymore to do that kind of stuff. It's the preservation of my own life in my subconscious runs a lot stronger than my need for youth-fulfilled adrenaline. So, I totally get it, man. Totally get it. But it's fun, you know. It's I have an old school pool deck that I run around on every once in a while, and I mean, even once in a while, you know, I'll slide it, but I'm not going anywhere near the speed that once did. Yeah, it's crazy the speed that some people take those. I mean, it's definitely an art. You know, knowing how to slide and slide properly. And I mean, I guess the big thing is having the flexibility now too to lean back to get your pucks down. It's a different beast. Yeah. Yeah, it's I hear you, man. It's I wouldn't even go out in the full motorcycle, leathers, helmet, anything. It's just it's a risk reward thing. It's the reward you would feel 20 years younger. The risk is that you might, you know, take a few years off your life. Yeah, and that's the other thing. I mean, the other part too is, I don't know about up where you are, but roads here are getting pretty shitty. There are huge cracks and potholes everywhere. It's just insane. So, you know, I know the wheels being somewhat softer, so that piece of gravel doesn't end you like it used to do in the 80s. But still, not enough to deal with cracks. And I don't know about you, but ollieing at high speed is not a thing. I bought one when I was working the tree planter board on days off. Oh, 100%, man. 100%. The beautiful thing about skating, regardless of the discipline, is that you know, you can work on stuff, chill, boot around, have some fun. It's a lot of fun at the end of the day. And that would explain why you're, if you're camping on a mountain, that would explain exactly why you did DH. It's like ease of access. Yeah, snowboarding. My knees don't agree with skiing or snowboarding much anymore. It's just, they get pretty fatigued, and I think I'm a bad turn away from knee surgery, so I just kind of stick with training on the bike these days. I mean, again, I would love to do half the things I used to do in my youth, but I have to be realistic with myself. I was doing more stuff before the pandemic. Yeah, the pandemic was interesting, and I think it shut a lot of things down for people. I know it did for me, but it just redirected focus, I think, more than anything else. I had just a single speed spin bike, so the one where you just keep on driving, pedaling. I had that for a very long time, and I got rid of it during the pandemic because fitness equipment was at such a premium that and you couldn't get anything, that I got rid of it really easily. And at the end of the day, I switched to just getting my bikes that I ride outside on a trainer, and then started the Zwift thing versus, you know, doing intervals and stuff like that. I just find it a little bit more relaxing in a sense, and my distance changed a lot. I mean, free ride mountain biking and downhill is more about explosive power and bike control than it is about endurance and riding for 40, 60, 100K. So I changed sort of that, changed my physiology a little bit. I destroyed my hip mountain biking, and I'd been rehabbing that. So I think it's helped a lot in those regards, but it definitely, a lot of people change their focus. Do a lot of interval work at the gym and on my fluid trainer. Nice. Nice. Yeah, it's I just started building up my gym here, which is good. I go to a private gym where I'm typically there by myself anyways, but on weeks like this week where I'm not really traveling anywhere because I'm staying at home, it's out of the way. It's with work it's fine, but I just don't feel like going out of that way, so just having the stuff here is always good too. Although I miss some of the equipment because I just have typically a flat bench, some matting, a bunch of dumbbells, kettlebells. It's enough, but would rather do simulating riding like Zwift. Yeah, no, I hear that. Training plans, training plans are good when you have an end event or goal and taper and stuff like that. I mean, I'm just noodling here on indieVelo. It's more testing it out than anything else. The problem I find with Zwift is if I'm not racing, I'm being really, to be honest, lazy. I'm just kind of putting in base mile stuff. Outside, I don't know, it's there's more of an urgency to actually work. I don't know why that is, but it's I much prefer the outside to stuff like this. 100%. It's all, I am a person that tracks and very number orientated and all those kind of things. I mean, I was on, I retired from professional sports at the age of 32, and that was kind of like I would still do things and I was still riding and I was still making films and blah blah blah, but I just the focus changed. So it's lots of zone 2 effective also. Oh, 100%, man, 100%. We'll ride here for a long time, all day. Like I said, I'm not working very hard, but it's still moving and getting those bases in for those longer things. It's just, like I said, I just prefer outside because there is the variety, and depending on the day, it's, hey, I'm going to turn here, I'm going to explore here, or it's like I'm going to ride with these people that are hella fast and half my age, and do those kind of things. So it keeps you entertained, even if it doesn't feel like it. Yeah, no, I think doing a lot of base work like that is the way to go, especially as you get older. I know, like, Trainer Road, it's I like the program, but I don't necessarily like the program that they run. It's I think it leads to a lot of burnout, especially in older guys like me. It's definitely a little too much of a push at times. But I will have to check it out. I will have to import a training program into here. I know that it allows you to add the files for training programs for custom workouts, which is awesome. So that's kind of cool. sometimes going overboard is just a way to get injured as well. 100%. 100%. It's, there is a switch for a lot of people that were, you know, competitive in whatever it is, whatever sport they were, you know, high school, college, after college, you know, semi-pro, pro, you know, avid, you know, runner, you know, marathon, you know, it's, you get to a point, like, a lot of people, and especially in endurance point or sports, are mentally tough. Is kind of the key thing. And a lot of people, you know, even at base levels, you know, relate to a time when they were maybe a better athlete, but mentally they're still super tough. So the amount of shit that you can tune out and put yourself in a bad spot is a real thing. You know, it's you know, you can do yourself a lot of damage. I have to reel myself back in. Things like the gym, you know, with weight, it's like, I know I can push more, I know I can go harder, but I have to be careful because I can also push myself. And I did that earlier this month. I saw my performance because I was doing a lot of squats and working on squat and the squat rack. And I was just putting myself in a massive hole. And I felt fine on the bike. But when it came to having that kick after, you know, an hour or 2 or 3 hours or whatever, and that final kick, there was nothing. And I just felt like I was playing chase, even when I was sitting in the group. And it's you know, it's never good. It's never good. So I had to dial it back. It took me a couple weeks to kind of start feeling good again. Something I noticed about Bullet that makes him pro. He does most of his training inside because he can do it more or less fatigue and injury. There is definitely that. I mean, in cycling, especially road cycling, there is that collision chance when you're riding in groups and doing all that kind of stuff. And anytime you go down, like I went down early season last year and crashed, and it was just a stupid crash, a momentary, took my eyes one way, and then next thing you know, I was sliding out. It just sucks, and it throws you off for a while. And injuries can last a long time. Yeah, especially, you know, I think of being injured in the past. So, like I played basketball in university. I played football in university. And anytime I was injured, like I said, skateboarding was bad for my ankles, which translated to other team sports as being bad ankles. And I had a tendency, especially in basketball, to strain them or sprain them. And then you end up, back then, you wouldn't really stop. Like, practice would happen, and all I would do in practice is sit on the bike, even if there was no tension, and spin the legs. The focus was getting you back and back into the game as quick as possible. So it's thing. And also running treadmills on the knees. Oh, 100%. I used to run a fair bit, And I just can't anymore. And I don't even think I can run on a treadmill, to be honest. It's just not there. It's the impact. And I mean, I struggled when I did run with my IT bands on the outer leg, just would get inflamed in a brutal thing. I broke my left ankle and fractured my right, yeah. And the thing is once you do it, it's never the same. I mean, left and right, I mean, I guess at least there's a little bit of a balance there, but still, like, it's, those things never, you're never 100%. I mean, the doc that I have now, he's known me my whole kind of life. You know, I got him towards the end of my professional career when I moved here, and you know, he'll always say, like, you're never going to be 100%. Like, you're doing good, but you know, it's like he tries to reel me in. I think it is. He's like, what are you trying to accomplish here? It's like, you're not pro anymore. You're getting old. It's like you're doing way more than a lot of other people, which is good, but you know, you've got a bad tendency to think that you're doing something that he's like, I'm not sure what you think you're doing. So yeah, I mean, you've had the speech too. It's something that I think is prevalent with anybody. You know, once you hit, like, I'm well into my 50s. It's something that became a discussion probably in my mid 40s, especially after my accident where I destroyed my hip, which has been, you know, the worst injury that I've had, and it's been knock on wood, not bad. I do feel twinges every once in a while, but it was nothing like the pain I was in before I had surgery. So it's definitely things to take into mind and stuff like that. And I mean, for me, a lot of it's just general health at this point. I mean, I can't help myself. You know, training to race Unbound and stuff like that. I would have raced Unbound, not a problem. But it's maybe a blessing in disguise that what happened because I get super competitive with myself, and I'll have certain expectations, and we just end up going way too hard is what it is. Ah, nice. Still young, you still got lots of life in you, man. It's you know, I look back at, it's interesting as you get older, and you'll find this, and you'll be doing it already, is, you know, when you're in your 50s, you look back at your 40s, you're like, man, when I was 40. And then you look back, it's like, ah, man, when I was 30. Like I said, I retired from professional sports when I was 32. And I was on a decline. Like, that's why you retire. You're not performing the way you should. And even at that point, it was like, man, when I was 25, wow, if we could just get back to that. I mean, you're not getting back to those peak things, but I mean, it's, if you've been active your entire life, at least you have a good foundation. You know, so even when you slip, like I have, you know, and you got to work back. Like I said, the physical part of it may not be there sometimes, but the mental part for a lot of people that have been involved in sports and training and doing whatever and have been active, it's there. myself at 25, I was an idiot. Weren't we all? I was, 100%. All the time, stupid stuff. I look back and I'm happy and matured as a person. Yeah, but you got to learn those life lessons when you're younger too. I mean, it's ongoing, you know. I mean, like I said, I'm in my mid-50s and I still do stupid things that I regret later on. And then I look back and I'm like, you're an idiot. And that's just how it is. And then hopefully, you know, in my case, my primitive ape-like mind can get it through its thick skull that you're making bad life choices and then you don't do stupid stuff like that again. But, you know, sometimes, you know, people like myself, I know, sometimes I just have to learn the hard way. That's how it is, because, you know, it's your ego, and I think I'm smarter, and it's like, oh yeah, I used to do this all the time, not a big deal, whatever. You know, it is a big deal. I never feel my age, so I don't think much about it. I try not to feel my age. I always say, you know, your mind is good, but your body's a traitor, in the sense that, you know, things happen and you're just like, why the hell is this happening? And it's just, that's just life, and that's just getting, you know, older and all that kind of stuff. But again, I mean, if you're active, you're doing things, you're doing the right things, you're moving in the right direction, it's all good. You know, generally you'll be all right. You know, I increased my gym time and levels because I felt like I needed a little bit more stability to bounce. It probably still won't help, but you know, having a good solid build behind you, when bad things happen, hopefully it holds you together a little bit better. So, I mean, it's just doing what you can do. I mean, if all somebody can manage is 15 minutes on the bike a day, which for somebody who rides all the time like yourself will seem like nothing. It's, if you're good and consistent about it and routine wise, I mean, that's huge. You know, it's, and it just develops from there. And if that's all you ever do, that's still better than what a lot of people do. I mean, that's just life in general. Can't beat yourself for being human. That's right. You know, it's, we all have our limitations. Although, like I said, I mean, a lot of time mentally we're just fighting ourselves. It's that inner dialogue that you have with yourself in your head that gets a lot of us in trouble, and makes us feel like we're not doing enough when we're doing lots, or underperforming, or all sorts of things. Or conversely, sometimes it can be like, yeah, you're fine, like you don't need to do that, you don't need to do this. You know, it's always a constant battle. You got to find that what works for you and what your happy medium is. And I mean, the big part is just doing what makes you happy at the end of the day. I mean, do what you enjoy. If you stop enjoying it, go do something else. It's not a big deal. Like, I mean, it's, I think sometimes people get stuck in the trap, and you see this with people with work that identify as their job, that it can be hard to kind of move, to do different things, because your identity is so deeply ingrained in something that you don't, even though it might be time to move on, you can't. It's, you got to do what you enjoy. You got to do what makes you, excited to get up in the morning. And sometimes you might not be excited, and it's good to force yourself to do that, because let's be honest, as people, a lot of times we're inherently lazy and we don't want to do things. And I mean, I do that on the bike all the time. I don't, ride as hard as I should some days, but that's okay. That's okay. Mistakes happen, just learning from experience. As someone into mountaineering, I think making good decisions is one of the best skills you could have. Yeah, especially in mountaineering, because bad decisions probably don't lead to great outcomes. You have to be able to turn away from something, even if you've been planning it for years, if the conditions aren't right. And, like you said, that's experience. You don't want to be making mistakes like that, but sometimes I imagine that's how you learn, because hopefully they aren't ones with huge consequences. I mean, mountaineering especially. It's, that's insane. A big part of risk management and mitigation of it. Yeah, 100%. It's, back to free riding mountain biking. You do a lot of crazy stuff on a bicycle that people would never, ever do. That, you're going jumping off drops or, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, some of the big boys, 50, 60 feet, huge gaps, we have a dirt jump so that we built over here, myself and Coach Steve. I think we had the hip gaps, and the shortest one, the smallest one, was about a 15, 20 foot gap, and then it was like 25, 30, and then it was like 35, 40 foot doubles. But I mean, it's knowing what you're capable of. And again, like you said, risk management. So when you ride a bike and your wheels are attached to the ground, everything is good. The moment that you leave the ground, it becomes a different thing. And especially when you're jumping, especially in Alberta, where it's windy, picking those days where you're gonna go hit the big sets. You don't do it when there's gusty, gusts that come up to 40 kilometers an hour that come out of nowhere, because unfortunately when you're 15, 20 feet off the ground and the wind blows you, you might have a bad day. And it's just, sometimes it's just good to, practice your skills on the little jumps or the tabletops, because you're still jumping, but if you get squirrely, you're not landing in the middle of nowhere, and B, you're not missing the landing. It's, it's, oh man, foam pits and airbags would have made, and they're good and they're bad. I would have loved to use an airbag learning snowboard. Same thing. They're good and they're bad, because if you didn't use those, and I didn't use those until, I don't think I jumped into a foam pit until I was pretty much done. But you can push the envelope so far. You can do things that you would never, ever contemplate ever trying doing on dirt, ever, in a foam pit. And you can get it to a point where you can bring it to, like they have those softer landings now, like the airbag landings, they have the rubberized landings. What we used to do was get mulch and build like a mulch landing. That's how we used to do it back in the day. So still pretty solid, but soft enough that when you went down, it wasn't like it wasn't good. But anytime you go down on those things, it's never good anyways, even with those rubberized landings and stuff. But, you know, when you start getting inverted, it becomes a different beast, even on mulch, and definitely going to dirt. So it's, I think sometimes that people are able to push very, very far, and it's pushed to sports, and that's great. But I mean, you know, with biking, anytime that you become inverted, it's a dangerous game. Like, you know, there are guys, I know guys that don't walk because of that. And I mean, you know, even with things like Liat braces and all that kind of stuff, I mean, you can still get badly injured. And, you know, if I look way, way back when, it's like things like the first Red Bull Rampage, and you look at the prize money, it was like $5,000, $6,000. It's nothing. It's really nothing. That's a lot of money to be, you know, doing the things that you do. Now, granted that most people that were doing those kind of events also had sponsorships, and back in the day, you know, you would get bonuses for photographs on, you know, the cover of a magazine, insert magazine, so on and so forth, media coverage. You get signing bonuses for whichever brands you were with typically. But yeah, it's definitely, the thing about safety equipment is sometimes it makes people feel invincible. And that's the dangerous part about it. It's got to be taken with, you know, kind of caution and stuff like that. Like, we build a lot of big features, a lot of planning, a lot of math, a lot of figuring it out, a lot of knowing and doing. And you know, that's kind of the next thing, is when you start building stuff, you're building it because you know how you ride and how it will ride. Oh, 100%. 100%. Safety equipment is just to make sure that, you know, when things go wrong, like my big crash where I fell 75 feet, is that you don't end up like a vegetable. You know, it just cracks your helmet. You have a bad concussion, but you don't have, you know, a massive head injury that you're dealing with. You know, it mitigates some of those risks. Because we used to say with that kind of riding, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when and how bad. It's just comes with the territory. I have to say, it's indieVelo, man. If you're not paying for Zwift, or if you're not on Zwift and you just want something to ride and ride pace partners, this works. Yeah, it's been nice and chill ride, man. It's been good. See, and that's crazy if that's true. It's, you know, there's a lot of things that are very similar, that are very familiar between Zwift and this. And there's a lot of little tweaks that I like. And like I said, you know, it's I don't know how long it will remain free and in beta, but you can't argue with that right now, 100%. The issue becomes is when it becomes a paid platform, and I think you were alluding to this yesterday on your stream a bit, it's like, then you really gotta work on things. But as we were discussing yesterday, I think microtransactions are the way to go with these things. Yeah. It's you'll have learned a lot, and that's the interesting thing. I'm not a big social guy on these things, but I feel the need to, if somebody chats, to throw something out there just to let people know that there's other human beings on this platform. Oh, it definitely needs some work. But just from a strictly get on your bike and ride and put in some time and put in some miles and just spin the legs, it worked. I mean, like I said, I look at a lot more boring things when I'm doing training blocks than this. And I think, what is it, $24.99 Canadian that Zwift's going up to, or it is currently. I mean, over the period of the year, I mean, $300 for some people, and what I'm talking about are people that are definitely just starting out. That's a huge amount of money. And that can make a difference. You know, just by riding indieVelo for a year, saving yourself $300. You know, that's, for some people, a chunk towards a new trainer, you know, or a new whatever, set of power meter pedals, or it's a good amount of money, or a new bike. Exactly. You know, some people are on some interesting contraptions, and you know, $300 goes a long way, or a real trip, 100%, man. And that's, I think, where Zwift has lost sight a little bit. I mean, I think at $24.99, and I think you were saying this yesterday, or somebody I was watching yesterday, they've lost track a little bit of sort of where they're pricing themselves. Because I think even Peloton, which does all the live classes and live streams, every live class all day long with live instructors and blah, 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 blah. I mean, I think it's less. I think it's like $5 a month less. Hey, Kenzie. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? We're just spinning her out. Yeah, so if thanks for the raid, I appreciate it. I mean, Peloton, like, is the most bougie bike thing going, 100%. And if you're more expensive than them, you really got to wonder what you're doing. It's, and I think you said it yesterday again, Clutch, is like, they may see it as a nominal thing. Hey, Luis, welcome to the stream. They may see it as a nominal thing, but for a lot of people, man, like, it's not. It's a difference, you know. And you know, you'll see the memes. It's like, oh, you know, it's the price of a gel, or it's this or that. Like, I mean, when I ride these things, I don't fuel at all. kind of the old school mentality. It's like I will run a calorie deficit when I'm on the bike, even if I'm on here for 2, 3, 4 hours. It's I will avoid eating stuff. I mean, if I bonk, it doesn't matter. I just kind of roll upstairs. It's not a big deal. You know, it's not the same as a big ride outside. But yeah, it's, you know, for a lot of people, it makes a lot of difference. Louis says, I just went from Zwift to indieVelo and I'm loving it. No way I'm paying 20 euros a month to ride on Zwift. I don't blame you, man. It's exactly what I'm saying. How have you found indieVelo, Luis? Like, how are you enjoying it thus far? This is day 2 for me. So I rode and raced yesterday. I found a race with some people. Did a scratch race. I enjoyed it. There was a lot of bots, but it was fun. Me and one of the other human beings that were in that race, you know, we battled it out for a bit. He pushed me, so that was good. But, you know, I think your sentiment is exactly it. It's like, you know, 240 euros a year. You know, that's some cool stuff. You know, that makes a difference. That'll make a huge difference. And like I said, I'm in the process of expanding my home weight pit, I guess, in a sense. And you know, that money can go to other things. It's it makes it a lot interesting. I will say this about indieVelo. I do like the fact the sky changes every once in a while. It does attract my attention. But yeah, it's I think Zwift has left themselves a little bit vulnerable here, in the sense that the more people that will come, and I've noticed just in the 2 days, all this stuff, this chit chatter that's going on is getting more and more. And once this becomes just kind of a constant stream of stuff, number one, I'll turn it off, because in Zwift I don't really pay attention to it at all. And like I said, I just kind of hear and doing it and letting people chit chat. They need a main asset is the community. 100%, man. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not getting rid of Zwift in the same sense too. Like my Monday race stream is Zwift centric. There is a bunch of people that I race with week in and week out, and definitely doing that, especially because they are large groups in that time slot. And it's you know, it's not going anywhere for me. I'm the same. It's I still have Zwift, but I'm on the year program. I think it is like, I want to say November that my year will come up for renewal, and I might just switch to month. We'll see. We'll see how that kind of plays out. I've committed to doing the Zwift races once a week throughout the summer. So even if it's a beautiful day on a Monday, my plan is to still be here on the trainer doing that race, because it leads into my rest day, which are Tuesdays. So we'll go. Yeah, and when they're free, it's like, it's whatever. Like I said, I've downloaded my Whoosh. I still have to throw that on, give that a shot. see how that is. And I mean, it'll have some nuances and difference. I mean, the big scary thing for Zwift there is that they have some financial backing. I know that the Emirates, not a lot of people agree with their policies and are turned off by that, and rightfully so. But the fact that they have the E-Championships on there, that could be problematic in the sense that when you have, it's like anything, you know, it's, you take any professional sports and you can have whatever scandal, and because it's people's pro athletes in there, a lot of times they turn a blind eye to stuff. I mean, that's just the sadness of the world. It's, I mean, you know, just look at the NBA, you know, Kobe Bryant. Everybody loves Kobe Bryant. And I wouldn't say that he has the best track record. And I mean, he's not an isolated incident. So, I mean, if they can survive stuff like that, a platform, it's not going to end it. It'll be other things that put an end to it. Like I said, the world we live in, a lot of people turn a lot of blind eyes to a lot of things, which they probably shouldn't. And maybe it's just me with this platform too, but I find, I don't know, for anybody who's ridden it, maybe they can let me know. Like, I find this to be a lot smoother pedaling than I do on Zwift. I mean, I'm on the same trainer, the same bike. It just feels pretty damn smooth, which I like, because when you get going, it's just, you want to kind of get in that zone and just kind of keep on rolling at the end of the day. The other thing is, I'm curious, and if anybody can confirm this as well, is that I think that anytime you see anybody with any kind of team allocation on indieVelo, that is likely a real person. Unless they've got like bot teams, which they might. Depends on the settings, you can adjust the real wind. Nice. I think the wind is a great touch because that's the reality of the world in racing. That would be sound logic that that's a person. Hey Maniqua, welcome back. Yeah, it's, I think it's the case, but I don't know. I really don't know. Like that person that's slowing down, I think was a real person. See, that's interesting that they're using this to verify that, which is a good sign. I noticed when I logged in that they also have a place for your UCI license, which I think is smart. I have to go into the team management stuff. I will do that at some point. I'll probably do it offline. See what's kind of going. I'll probably just join Dirt, although it's not, Dirt's such a big team. I've been riding with the guys that I've been riding with for like 4 or 5 years. And they're an awesome guy. And he's run by Brian Burrows. Amazing dude. He's a top-notch dude. I mean, I don't think he's got anything to do with this side of things. So we'll see. We'll see what we sort of do. I would like to see some bigger events and more people. Like I said, I don't mind racing with bots because at the end of the day, it's just kind of a workout. But, you know, the other thing with the bot is it's not suffering the way that you are, and it might react a lot different. I mean, it will take some time and some experimentation, I think, to see kind of what's what. It's like any video game. If you've played any kind of sports video game, once you figure out how they're kind of programmed and how they react to things, you can really manipulate the situation, which isn't a good thing. And that's why you kind of need the real people. Because real people, while somewhat predictable at times as well, and will do certain things, you know, and they will do things to surprise you. Yeah, Quake bots were dumb, but had good aim. Exactly. It's you know, it definitely makes it like the race I did yesterday. You know, I would sprint. They'd chase for a little bit. They'd drop off. I'd end up sprinting with the other guy, and we'd slow right the hell down. We'd start riding like this, and then they would catch up and pull ahead a bit, and then they'd drag us for another couple laps, and then we'd do it again for the next set of sprint points. It's kind of a repeat thing. And then it was about, I want to say, 3/4 of the way into the race that I wanted to put a bit of I didn't want to play the sprint game anymore necessarily. So I went for a little bit of a ride by myself, and they never really came back. The human person did chase me down. It felt pretty good though. Machine learning is making things smarter. I mean, AI is definitely getting there. I mean, hell, they're writing songs, they're putting stuff together. It's not perfect, but damn, you know, for something that takes a minute to put together, it's way better than what I could produce in a minute. You know, if you take your time and put your time into stuff, like if I were to do a painting, I should be able to outperform a bot. But in speed, he might have 10 fingers, but he'll produce something outright for that amount of time. Except Twitch AI not smart enough. Yeah, bots can definitely learn strategy and adjust and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I was kind of curious about that yesterday. I was wondering how they would adjust when I changed my strategy. Because my strategy change was completely whimsical. Like, I mean, A, I didn't warm up for that race. B, I didn't know what to expect. And there we go. They banned Pookie second time this week. What? Pookie got banned? Why did Pookie get banned? Oh my God. Well, because of his name? Oh, jeez. We let Amaranth run around, and we're gonna ban Pookie for his name. That's ridiculous. But, you know, I'll say this, and I love Pookie, and he knows that, is maybe good timing because he's got Unbound. He's got some things to focus on. And it's probably good timing. It will not have been the intention of Twitch to help him out, but at the end of the day, I don't know. I haven't been able to watch any of Pookie's streams in like the last week and a half, mainly because usually I'm at work and just kind of have him playing on my second monitor, chilling. But it was a busy work week leading to my time off, so I kind of missed out. It's in his Discord. Am I even on Pookie's Discord? I think I'm on Twitch Degenerates. Interesting. Very interesting. Well, that sucks. But like I said, it could be a blessing in disguise. He's got a race to do. I'm looking forward to seeing his stuff from that and hearing all about it. My only regret is that I'm not there with him racing, because it would have been amazing to chill and hang out and partake in the event and have a good time and all that kind of stuff. It would have been awesome. That would be good. I'm sure he would appreciate that because, let's be honest, pretty wholesome guy. Pretty wholesome guy. I mean, we could always pull him to the dark side. We could pull him over to YouTube. Guess he may have been the first one lifted from a higher up, but the algorithm wasn't updated. Yeah, and that's got to be infuriating. Deal with something only to have it happen for the exact same reason again. Yeah, super nice guy. You know, I've been on YouTube for a long time. It's where the vast majority of my audience is. And obviously I'm streaming here to Twitch when they allowed us to do that again. And Pookie was probably one of the first people to kind of drop in and say hello. He was nice enough to invite me to an event, which I didn't take part in just because, you know, I didn't know the Twitch community at all from anybody at that moment. But yeah, it's you know, he's a great guy, and I'm always impressed by a lot of people over on Twitch. Him, Brian Kellison, all these guys. If you watch me when I race, I shut the hell up. Like, my chat might be going off, but I ain't talking. Hey, Flexu, welcome back. Thanks for dropping in. I don't talk at all during those streams. This is indieVelo. This is a completely different game. When I'm riding like this and it's well within my reach, fine. But the other part of it is like, to be honest, racing, I'm not talking because I'm focused on what's going on. I might get a word out there here and there, but generally I'm working a lot harder. You got to get lasered in and watch what's going on. Like I said, I'm a bit competitive, even if it's with myself. It's just like I gotta focus on what I'm doing. You know, if it's riding with a pacer bot, it's a different thing. This is not Zwift Flexi. This is indieVelo. It is 100% free. So you can ride like this free. Doesn't cost you a thing. Looks very similar to Zwift. Rides very similar, although I still believe it's a little bit smoother. It has cool things like wind speed, which you can see in the top left there. It's got a draft gauge. All these gauges are indieVelos. You don't have to use sauce and a bunch of custom screens to do it. They are definitely there all by themselves, which is cool. It's just really, really good. I mean, there's no, like I said, there's no argument at all that if you're new to biking and you're looking for a platform to ride on and you want to figure yourself out and what you want to do, that this is probably a good place to start. Get a few months in at least. And then if you find you want like super crazy races and competitive and that whole Zwift power thing and WTRL and LRR and all those other big events, then maybe you can do those and switch over. But I mean, this is going to work out just fine for a lot of people and save people a ton of money. So how you doing, Flexu? How the workout's going? Hopefully you're doing well, my friend. I will say this, the pace for effort does seem faster though. Like I definitely don't feel like I am doing a sub 3 hour hundo pace at this point. Like I'd have to be working a lot harder. I mean, granted that this is a good sized group and that definitely factors in, but I would have to be pacing a lot faster. Oh yeah, especially for the first timers looking to see how online riding works. Yeah, and that's, you know, I'll be honest, the biggest hook for me a lot of times when I'm starting out on something is price. You know, I may be willing to spend more later, but when I first start out, it's minimal investment until I see if I like something. So for somebody who's brand new to cycling and endurance cycling and working out and all those kind of things, again, and we kind of, Clutch and I were discussing this earlier, it's like that money going to equipment, like your bike, it's an easier spend, or a trainer, or anything. It's just all, it all works. Yeah, it's, I mean, I've rode Zwift for a very, very long time. It's, I feel right at home here. It's not that big a difference, I don't think. There are some subtle things, but generally speaking, it's the base of the mechanics are pretty good. And that's the big thing. It's like once you get that down, I think Clutch was saying it yesterday because he was talking about some things that he was looking to develop. It's like once you get those base mechanics down and how those work, you're in business. If you like it, fine, no biggie, but if you can do something free, always a good thing. Oh, 100%, man. Like I said, some people may come here, try this out, like it, wanna race bigger groups of real people, they'll move to Zwift at this juncture. And that depends on the user base, right? I mean, people on on my socials are wondering, like, hey, is this guy like completely switched to indieVelo? No. I'm here trying it out. I'm having fun. There's something different to do. It adds a little bit of variety. And I mean, that's the beauty as well, is that because this is free, I will use it. It just, you know, depends on the day, different scenery. I like the Pacer bot a bit more. I will say this, like, this seems relatively consistent. I have done a few Pacer bots in the last little while on Zwift where it's like, hey, the average is 3.2 to stay with this guy, and I'm doing 3.5, you know, 3.6, 3.8, and it's too much for me for those particular rides. I don't want to be doing that much. And the inconsistency kills me. And I find with Zwift, here in this kind of spot in the group, I'm working really hard on Zwift. But on Zwift, if I get up here and I'm not even in the draft, for whatever reason, I'm not working as hard. And maybe it's all in my head, but you know, maybe it's a mental thing that it's like I'm at the front, I'm pushing the pace. It's me who's dictating things and I'm more comfortable with that. But I feel like there's a gap there. I've noticed it. I definitely know the pace numbers for a couple bots have been off a couple times, and it's been annoying because it ends up being more work than I wanted to put in. Yes, exactly. Zwift was the first I found, and it looked interesting, so I started it. You know, looking at indieVelo, Whoosh things a bit deeper too. I need to install Whoosh. I've got it downloaded. I need to install it. I need to give it a shot. I don't know if it's a this week thing. It might be. You know, I'm just kind of having fun doing indieVelo at the moment. I want to kind of give it a good run. So I have a honest and, you know, once the other thing, it's like, hey, this is shiny and new, so I'm excited. So you get that kind of like special feeling. You got to let some of the shine wear off and see how you feel about it after that too. That's why reviewing things, you know, like when I do them for the YouTube channel, I'll kind of do an unboxing and initial impressions, and then like a first ride, it's like, well, this is awesome, or this sucks. But you know, it's awesome first ride. And you get like 10, 15 rides in, then you start to maybe notice some things, start talking about it mid-review, and then final review once you've used something for a long period of time. And that's typically, if you ask me in a chat or in a comments or stuff like that, it's like, would I buy this or would I buy this again? You'll get an honest answer. You know, it's like I would 100%, you know. There's a limited time during a week, so I've put more effort in to test it. Yeah, it's time is definitely a factor for everybody, man. It's You know, I've put, I don't know, a couple hours into this game so far. In the last couple of days, so I mean, it's been pretty good. I got no complaints thus far. I mean, I didn't even know what I was going to do today. I knew I was going to do the pacer bot. I thought about doing another race. I couldn't find a race with any people. I could have just done a straight bot race, but I don't think I'm going to do that. Maybe that's a tomorrow thing, tomorrow problem. We'll see. Like I said, I want to look into the team management thing. Maybe join a team. Now we got more chit chatter going on, which is awesome to see. I think we're going to roll this to 60K. Then we'll take a bit of a break. Call it maybe a day. But yeah. Pace bot's a thumbs up for me, man. It's definitely, they definitely work. I like it. I like that it gives a power range. I like that it seems fairly consistent, that there's no massive surging, that, yeah, it just seems to work well. What can I say? If you want a pacer bot experience, indieVelo works. There you go. All right. So I will jump on Twitch here because I haven't been doing this and I'm bad, and I feel bad for just kind of hopping off. Let's go Twitch. Let's search Zwift. We're gonna raid Holden. Hopefully, where's my cursor? So I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate you all joining me and chit-chatting. I know these impromptu streams aren't very structured a lot of the time. But we're gonna raid Holden Indoor. And you have to actually spell it right to do that. So we will catch you guys later. Thanks again for tuning in. We will catch you all soon.